Welcome, everyone, to episode 189 of Just Joshing. I am your host, Joshua Pantelleresco. I write stuff and podcasts, too. Today, my guest is Mel Vee. I was originally going to break this into two parts, and my reasoning for that was it just broke that 1 hour, but just barely. But after listening to this interview, I decided I'm going to air the whole thing in its entirety. Episode 190 is going to be something a little different. I got plenty in the queue to choose from. So this one's going to be a bit of a longer one than normal, but I think a good one. Mel Vee, to me, my first impression of Mel Vee was at Sweet and Sultry Summer. She was in this gorgeous orange dress. She was taking pictures, and she was talking about her photography, like, because it was a new passion, something she was playing with, and she was having a lot of fun with. And for all I saw later was her performance, I think what I'll always remember with her is just how soulful her smile really is. It just comes straight from the heart with her, and this whole conversation feels very straight from the heart. So I'm going to leave you with that. And that's how we're going to start this podcast. All right? All right. I'm turning the recorder on. I'm a little nervous, so just to understand people, I accidentally invented a board game. And so I met Miss Mel Vee at Sweet and Sultry Summer. Two things I noticed about her: she looked incredibly striking in her dress. One, she also has one of the nicest laughs I've ever heard in my life. And I mean it because the reason I say that is it goes all the way from, like, I would say literally from soul to out. Like, it is one of the most sincere things you do.
Thank you.
Yes.
That makes me feel good.
Yeah, no, like, see, I read some of your stuff, and sometimes you come across sometimes incredibly angry, and I think a lot of people would confuse that as you just being a naturally angry person. Mm-hmm. My interpretation of you is you're a very passionate person that has a reason to be a little pissed off.
I think so.
Yeah. She's amused at my commentary on her. So I was hoping actually I have a longer talk. We had a really good conversation.
We did.
Yeah, but it was very short, and this one's probably going to be short too. But that's all right.
Shorter than we wanted, but you know what? Making sense of chaos is what I do, and
making sense.
I realize that's my path. Is I make sense of stuff and I see things.
Well, this is a bit of a chaotic game I invented. So
I'm excited.
Okay, so here's the deal. The Queen. This is the Queen of Hearts, who's the villain of the current incarnation of this game.
Okay.
Right? She gets a head start because she's evil and she did something wrong. And the way the story starts in my actual story is she's running away from Alice. Okay. By the way, you have to choose Alice, Medusa, or the Black Cat, or Cheshire Cat.
Alice.
You are Alice, so you are the Queen. Okay. I am going to be the Cheshire Cat. So in my story, I am the voice in your head.
Okay.
So no Medusa this time. So the Queen gets a 2-turn head start.
Okay.
We already got a 7.
Okay.
So now all the portals and the monsters move.
Okay.
That's it.
Scary.
Yeah. So this is kind of like a snakes and ladders kind of concept. So I have like these little dots, and they're color coordinated, as you can see. Mm-hmm. So if you land on it, you go up, or if you're on the opposite way, to go down. Every piece, including the Queen, except for the Black King on top, can move with the portals. Like that one's gonna move because the portal moves one space. Right one is where the monsters move.
Okay.
So all the portals move one space. So we roll a 7. That's interesting.
And that's just a rule of the game.
Every time a 7's rolled.
Okay.
The rightmost dice is how many spaces the portals move. And if anything happens to be caught in the portal, it goes for a ride. So for example, that got caught. That, which is normally a higher difficulty level monster, is now here. That one is also a higher difficulty monster, is here.
And so how did these move to where they are now?
Because the portal. The linking corresponding portals. So this was one beside a portal. The portal's still there. So now as a result, it got sucked into the portal, so it got drawn into another world. So Queen rolled a 7. Now she's immune to all monsters.
Okay, but Alice is not.
No, Alice has to fight the monsters, specifically as you chase the Queen. And she got an 11. So she's here. It's your turn.
So I roll the dice?
You roll a dice. If you roll a 7, the portals move again. 9.
Okay.
So you skip them off.
What does that mean?
You just move. Where are they for the pieces? So you're here.
Okay.
Nothing happened because and now it's my turn. They all move again.
7. Okay.
They all move again. Yoink.
So I'm always safe right now on this spot.
You're safe on this spot, yes. The scary part though is the Queen gets to move as well. I rolled the same thing, a 6 and 1. So the idea is, I always like the idea of you were talking about chaos, right? Alice in Wonderland by its very nature is a little bit of a chaotic story, right? So I thought, what better way to incorporate chaos into the story than a moving snakes and ladders board? I thought it made sense anyway. I could be wrong.
Had I read the poem, it probably would make even more sense to me. I'm along for the ride.
Yeah, I'm along for the ride. So yeah, Queen's turn. So we never talked about this last time. How did you? 2, 4. Ooh, she almost got portaled. Your turn. So, how'd you get into writing?
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah, of course it's a big one. I don't ask small questions.
So, I'll go back a little bit. When I was quite young, I had this idea for a book called The Lonely Truth, which is so depressing for a little kid to be thinking about, but it was going to be about my life story. Because I was very shy and socially anxious as a little one. So I felt a lot of loneliness, and I had a lot of time to think. And so one of the ways that I kind of put that energy forward was to write and to kind of make sense of the world. And really, I know for myself now, writing and poetry is how to make sense of it. And so I had this. I never wrote the book, by the way. Got maybe 10 pages in. That was an achievement for a kid, but didn't get all the way. I would say, kind of tracing my genealogy of writing. When I was a teenager, I was really active in terms of writing poetry, and I did a little bit of spoken word back then. And then that really jumped forward. I didn't write for quite a few years. Adult responsibilities kind of taking over, and didn't think of writing seriously again until I was about 25. I want to say so, about 3 years ago. I've aged myself there. That's okay.
It's okay. You don't look 28.
So I don't know if that actually answered the question directly.
But it's okay. It's okay though. It's okay. It sounds to me like you were trying to make sense of stuff.
Yeah.
And
that's still how I do it.
Yeah. I write for 2 reasons. Because I try to make sense of my stuff from inside like you, but I also goof off. Right?
Yes, Joshua.
Yes, I just goof off, right? Because for me, I rolled a 6, by the way. 2, 4. I hit a portal. So now I'm here.
Okay.
I'm ahead of the Queen. Ha!
Okay, I'm still catching up.
Yeah, but that's okay. I have to get to that guy.
Okay.
Because if I don't get to that guy, it doesn't matter if I'm at the queen. She just beats the crap out of me.
Okay.
So, but no. So I goof off because for me, creativity is supposed to be fun. It really is supposed to be. There has to be a. She gets 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So there has to be a sense of fun in what you do. You want to hit. If you're lucky, you get a 6. But if you beat that, you can actually do something to the queen.
Okay, let's see. Am I lucky? Oh, 4. I'm not lucky.
Not lucky. It's okay. But it has to be fun. Like, for example, I accidentally invented a roar game because I just went with my creative muse and I just kind of fell down, no pun intended, the rabbit hole. Right? So, and I just want to find out where it's going to go, right? Because that's, you know, that's kind of what it's all about, because it's as much a journey, right, as it, I mean, more than even a destination, because there's no guarantees where any of this will take us, right? But, you know, while I'm here, this seems to be something I'm called to do, so I go do it, and kind of see what happens, and I'm just, so I'm kind of like, so I guess for me, I'm kind of trying to understand myself. I've also got this little bit of this mad scientist in me. I don't do the it's alive thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, maybe one day.
Okay.
And you got like this amused look on your face.
Well, I think, and I do have my scientific, logical mind. My training, I have a Bachelor of Science honors in anthropology.
Okay.
So that is a part of my background as well. But I see myself being more of a scientist in my creative process. I don't necessarily see it in other areas of my life in the same way.
Yeah.
You know, my writing, my creativity is where I experiment and where I kind of see what's going to make sense, what works, what doesn't work. And you're right, it is that lifelong project.
Yeah.
And not even necessarily a project, because that almost implies that there's going to be a, you know, defined outcome.
Well, come on, you're gonna make zillions and zillions of dollars. No, I do hope you have goals. Like, I mean, you do like big goals, what you'd like to achieve. I think we all need those things. Like for me, I have goals with my podcast specifically. I have goals with my writing specifically. And right now, like for me personally, my podcast seems to be doing very well, and I'm kind of just riding that wave, kind of seeing where that's going to go. So, and that's where I am right this moment. But as you can see with this, I'm constantly looking at other avenues, roads to doors to open, for lack of a better term.
And where do you kind of hope this will go?
It's going to be a board game release.
Okay.
So I what?
That's huge.
Well, it's just I wanted to do something different. We don't live in an age anymore where we have to be where mediums have to be just one dimension. And by the way, I'm not knocking any traditional works that way. Traditional works are still great, and people will still use them, especially books. Books are awesome. But yeah, like we also have this opportunity today now to try different things, because we live in an age where the mediums are a lot closer together. Like for example, you could do, like you do poetry, so poetry could also be songbooks, it can be video, it can be like a variety of different things, and it's like mixed medium is going to be, I think, going to eventually become a more regular deal. So I'm like, okay, what can work? What can't work? Right? And so, I mean, the problem is with a guy like me, because I try so many different things, some people are like, this is really different. I don't know what to do with this. Right? Whereas, so and that's the downside. The plus side, though, is if I find something that's really, 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 really successful, right?
I'm going to be like first because no one else thought of it, right? So it's like, and that's the risk reward thing. But I also kind of look at it like I look at like people, like really successful people, and the majority, not all, but the majority of them just try a bunch of different things and don't take risk and go out there and shoot for the moon. Right, and because why not? Because you know what? If you lose, what have you really lost? Not really a whole hell of a lot, right? And you learn from failure too. Like whatever. Like I don't know what. Like I have doing this. I have starved. I have nearly died. I've been to the bottom. But when I was at the bottom, I learned tons of things about who I was as a person.
Right.
So I came out of it stronger and hungrier to do what I'm going to do. It's like now I have like this weird like gear that I can't shut down ever.
So how did the podcast come about?
By accident. Like
these beautiful accidents.
One thing leads to another. I was interviewing, so I did a lot of written interviews on my blog. If you go look at my blog's history, there's a lot of written interviews in the early parts of the blog. I still enjoy that art form. I don't have time for it anymore, but I would interview someone like we're doing right now, and we talk for, in one particular case, we ended up talking for like 4 hours. Right, yeah, so, what?
I'm not surprised though.
Yeah. And I who surprised me? She's awesome, but I wasn't sure we get along. Like I wasn't sure. She's very strong, and I was like, I met Liana Kersner was the person I ended up talking for like 4 hours with. I ended up having a beer with her. We just sat there and we just chatted. We just really clicked. I was like, that's a really wonderful surprise when you meet somebody you click that well with, and So, and I would take the highlights, I'd write them down, and I'd send them to somebody to make sure, hey, did I screw anything up? No? Awesome. Or, yes, I screwed that up. Oopsies. Right? And so I get this opportunity to interview Rob Sawyer. I had talked to him about a few months prior to that. He said, yeah, when my book's ready to come out.
Who's Rob Sawyer?
Robert Sawyer is a science fiction Hugo Nebula Award-winning author.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I met him, I talked him on board because he played a big role in Canadian fiction, not just science fiction, but Canadian fiction in general, becoming more broader. He's played a big role in that. And I thought, it'd be cool to interview him, why not? Like, why go ask, see what happens. And so I finally have a phone. I'm in the 21st century, finally I have a phone. So I'm recording the interview. I can record the interview and transcribe it, and I won't make anywhere near as many mistakes. Yes! Right? And that was as far as I thought. And then Rob just happens to mention your podcast. Mm-hmm. It was like one of those magic little clicking moments. I didn't think of a podcast. Why didn't I think of a podcast? Can I make, this is literally in my head, can I make this work? Mm-hmm. Yes. Is there a reason why not to do it?
Make it work as in make a living?
No, well, first can I do it? We'll get into making a living with it is I'm getting to that point. So it's been that's a journey in itself, right? So, but I was like, can I make it work? Because I've always enjoyed interviewing people. Mm-hmm. So
getting to there's something that's kind of freeing about the interview format, and I say that because my kind of bent, you know, when I'm getting to know someone, or just in my everyday life, just to ask questions. And I don't want to give an interviewer vibe to when I'm not in an interview container, but in that interview container, there's that freedom within that container of just being able to ask those questions and that freedom.
And see, for me at this point, I don't worry about that anymore. Mm. I had, like I said, I hit the bottom of when I hit rock bottom. I literally had this moment where I confronted my own mortality, and I just recognized, this was at like 25. I recognized that I still have a long way to go if I choose to keep going, right. But I don't have that long. So I look at it like this: you are Mel Vee. You seem like an awesome person. what do I really want to know about you? And let's just cut the bullshit out, right? She's laughing at this one, ladies. Yeah. Let's just cut the bullshit out, right? I mean, let's ask the important stuff, because the way I look at it is, you are a three-dimensional human being. You have your own thoughts about who you are, what you want, where you come from, where you're going. And you've done, in your own right, you've done some incredible things. You fight incredible battles. You do your own stuff. So, as an interviewer, the logical question is, what drives you to do that? Now, on a personal level, though, so those are the best stories. What made you, like, I had to give up, like, the biggest thing I had to give up doing this podcast was the idea of judging people. And, like, that doesn't mean I agree with everything everybody I interview does. That's not what that's about. I don't have to agree. I don't have to always understand. I don't have to, but the thing is, we all go down our own roads to get to where we are.
Right.
And that in itself is an interesting story. Without any now, if I judge you prior to doing this, I'm going to deny myself the opportunity to get to know this amazing person with this awesome laugh and this, right? And by the way, and right now, if I judge you, you'll be like I could see angry you. I might get like European uppercutted into oblivion, and then you walk out the door and not off. And I don't want to do that. One, it might hurt, and then two, right? That's a wasted opportunity.
Right.
It like legitimately is, like, again, my background, I most people career last 20 years Christian. I believe in Christ and all that stuff. I do. But the thing is, the flip side, that doesn't necessarily, like, I don't have to look at anyone necessarily any different. Right? I can treat you who you are as a person I can respect, as a person I can admire. And maybe we could get a really good friendship out of this. Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't get along.
Right.
But if let's get to know each other. Let's actually talk. Let's see if we click. If we click, cool. Then I can meet you on the street. I can tease you on the street, and you'll like it. And honestly, I gotta say this. It sounds to me. You need to laugh more. Honestly, you need to laugh more, because it sounds
Sometimes I do.
Yeah, because honestly, one, you really shine when you do, and two, it seems to me, again, based on what I've seen and what I've read, you push yourself really hard against what you fight. You need sometimes to go, I need to laugh. Like, I need to laugh, because you need to, because I go back to a World War II thing. They were trying to cut all, I think it was Churchill was going to cut they were talking about cutting all the arts and programs for the war. And he goes, well, if we do that, what are we fighting for? And for you, I almost want to say the same thing based on what I'm seeing here, right? You fight. I bet you fight so hard sometimes. You forget sometimes to go.
I think.
Maybe I'm wrong. And by the way, I'm sorry I talked for so damn long.
No, I like to listen, and part of the reason that I'm drawn to spoken word poetry in particular is it's that moment of I'm on the center stage. The eyes are on me. People are focused on me in that moment. What am I going to say? What am I going to convey to people with that? If I'm doing a slam, I've got 3 minutes and 10 seconds to move somebody deeply, to give people that holy shit experience, or what was that? What did I just? Even if it's not a positive reaction, because sometimes it's not. I've been heckled in spoken word performances. You never think you're going to get heckled in that kind of circumstance, but I've had it happen now, and I have a short time to make the most impact. And there's an intensity that's built in to slam poetry in particular, right? And so, and that intensity kind of guides me in the rest of my life. And sometimes it does become, it can become a stand-in for what do I really want? You know, what really drives me? And I'm at a point where I'm needing to take a step back in my own life, because simply fighting is vital. And, you know, contrary to how it may appear, I'm not a natural fighter. You know, I'd rather be looking at butterflies, you know, staring at the sunset and the clouds, and, you know, this is the poet in me, right? But I realized that my words and the way that I see the world is how I fight. And it can be difficult to combine this artistic practice that to me is very beautiful, you know, and very profound with, there are, you know, harsh conditions and harsh realities of my life, and if I don't speak on it, because I do feel that urgency, if I don't speak on it, it may not get spoken.
True.
Right? And there's something to me that's terrifying about dying with my words inside of me.
I can understand that.
And so for me it is a spiritual experience too.
I saw a quote not too long ago: work is worship. It's not wrong.
No.
It's not wrong, because here's the thing, right? How you work, I actually truly believe this, how you work is how you see the world. It doesn't matter what the job is. Now, that doesn't necessarily, like, if you have a day job, much like I unfortunately still have a day job.
I don't see that not being a reality anytime soon.
Yeah. But if you still have a day job, you need to do it and you need to work, but you don't need to have it own you. Right. And some people, I can look at people and literally I can watch how they work, and sometimes the thought in my head is, I really hope you don't have sex this way. And then because I pity your partner if that's the case. I actually said that to one person. It's like, I said it in not quite as nice way. It was that bad. It's like, I really hope, like, anyways, but people don't realize that what we work at, like how we work, indicates who we are as people, right, to other people, and not just because it tells us everything. Like if I'm doing my job, if I show up, I do my job, I do it without being told, I just go about my business, whatever that is, that's one thing. Now, again, depending on the certain circumstances, I may be the fastest guy, I might be the slowest guy, it depends on the day. But as long as I'm concerned there's a certain level of consistency, I'm good. Right? It's no different with like what you're called to do. Because if what I do in the day job, it's kind of like if I can't at least do that, then when it comes to things I really care about, right? If I don't have at least that built into me, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
And then everything gets left. My biggest fear in this life is I want to have as few regrets as possible. Right. And by that I mean like the things when it comes to the things I didn't do in life. Right? I would rather do the things that I have inside, that I know I have inside. I know I'm not going to finish all of them, but at least I make a conscious effort to do them, to say what I need to say, to do all that stuff. Because then I can say, I tried. Which is really all any of us can do. Right? And then the rest will take care of itself.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
I mean, here's my confession. It's terrifying, to take those risks and put yourself out there. The more that I think about my artistic practice, the more I realize there's never going to be a clearly defined pathway. It's a dream that I've held on to painfully. You know, clinging to an idea that you have can be a very, very painful process, right? And I think one of my teachers, he calls it having a dark gift, that those things that cause us to suffer often show us our path and show us who we are. And so I realized that, you know, my artistic process is never going to have the same kind of comfort or security that my job is, my day job is. It's not a part of the process. You know, as valuable as my artistic expression is, the world doesn't need it in the same way, right? That you would need to have somebody make sure the roads are functioning, to make sure that, you know, people don't die in a hospital. You know, those things people will notice, but at the same time, like you were just saying, without that artistic expression, my life wouldn't have the same meaning. Right?
It'd be empty.
And so this is the difficult thing about it is, you know, and I think sometimes, you know, artists need to understand this. The world doesn't need us in that way. We need to create that meaning, and we need to create something that is going to be powerful and valuable, because people can go to sleep at night without hearing my voice, and the vast majority of the world do that, right? So if I don't have something else calling me in my artistic practice, I don't have a practice, right? But it's hard to let that security go, and I mean, it depends on your personality as well, right? Some people are a bit more comfortable with, you know, with the uncertainty that comes with an artistic practice. Other people, you know, not as comfortable.
Well, my own philosophy is you have to take risks. At some point, even if it doesn't work out I guarantee you it'll never work out the way you planned. That's not always a bad thing, though.
Yeah.
Is that right? That's not actually sometimes it's a great thing. So I've mentioned this story in the past, but I'll tell you here. So we mentioned accidents off the air, and I would define my artistic career as literally a series of accidents, of me just running headlong into things and things happening as a result. So my very first book was I never planned it. What happened was I wanted to write a longer poem. So I wrote this longer poem called The Watcher. I really liked it. So but I was like, there's a question mark. What happens next? So I wrote that.
Right.
I like that. What happened next? I wrote the third one. I like that. What happened next? And when I got to the fifth one, I just recognized that this was the story I was going to tell. Because there's even more accidents in this road. She's laughing her ass off, folks. So I had this master plan of like, I'm going to make this ebook. And I illustrated, I do some decent illustrations on the inside, get a nice cover, do an ebook, and then print copies and sell them for like at shows. That was my master plan. So I do all this. I set this up as an ebook. My first person to buy is someone I interviewed years ago. She goes to me, I like this. What are you going to do with it? And I tell her the same thing I just told you. She goes, well, I just got a deal with Ingram. I'm opening up a publishing house. I'll publish your book. So going back to something to always consider. I always say this: you need to have big goals. You need to believe in yourself.
Right.
2. And number 3, you have to give yourself the opening and possibility of things happening around you. I have my master plan with this board game is to do a Kickstarter with it in about a year. After 6 months of testing, we get to a prototype stage, right? and we see what happens. I'll have a book and a board game combo. I got some like big ideas. I'm talking to some interesting people for some of the big ideas.
Right.
But I don't have a clue what I'm doing. Right? And I'm not letting that stop me.
Right.
But you know, it's just one of those situations where, you know, it's like you never know. And I might accidentally stumble onto $1 million. It just could, and legitimately speaking.
I wish you do. I hope you do.
Yeah, it might happen. Then again, I may never see it. I might be like, yeah, this guy is too weird for this industry. All his experimenting and stuff, right? And there's like a twinkle in your eye on this. I'm almost afraid to ask what you're visualizing there. But
well, you know, honestly, I've hit a rough patch in my own practice, and I have a lot of doubt.
That's good.
To be honest, and I realize that is part of the process too. Being fully sure of yourself usually tells me that you haven't thought about it thoroughly. If you're fully sure.
I am absolutely terrified of the person that has no doubt at all. I am absolutely terrified of that person, right? Because I have doubts. Even now I have doubts. I mean, and that's healthy. Doubts is good. Doubt makes you question things. And questioning things, you're an anthropologist. You should know questioning things is a good thing.
It is.
Right. But you only really lose at this game if you quit.
Right.
That's the only real way to lose. Now, will you make money at this? Who the hell knows?
Right.
I could not tell you if you're going to or you're not going to, right? Because I don't have that magic answer. Is it possible? Absolutely, you can make money at this. There is no doubt that with what you're doing, you will find people that speak to your voice, right? But it's finding those people, and that's the real challenge. But again, if we look at it from that perspective, it's just a series of problems that can be solved.
Right.
Right? It's just figuring, again, it's like, I have identified my problem. I have hit this rough patch because I can't seem to find an audience for it. Right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So, that's the problem. Why? To this, and then you just look at everything. Is it my presentation? Is it, am I too comfortable in this voice?
Right.
Do I need to change it up? And these are again, this is just a problem-solving point of view, right? Is it that I don't know how to reach people? Which is also, that's a fair question too, right? And what am I good at? What am I not good at? How can I get stronger at the stuff I'm not good at? And then you work at it. You evolve your presentation. You turn Mel Vee, we'll say 1.5 here, and we turn it into Mel Vee like 2.0, and Mel Vee 2.0 might reach more people, right? And again, it's a never-ending process. And then it's also about just taking risk, right?
Well, risk is how you.
Yeah.
It's how you learn about yourself, right? Because often risk has failure in it in some way.
Absolutely.
Right? It's either a failure of your original plan, if that didn't work out that way, or it's exactly as you planned it and it's just a failure, right? But we learn about ourselves when we see those failures, right? Comfort is
the enemy.
Is a killer.
It's the enemy.
It is, and it's so seductive to get comfortable in anything that we do, and it's even more problematic for an artist because the creative process is inherently unknown. Right?
We are at our best when we are uncomfortable. And I know it's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah.
The reality is, though, sometimes being uncomfortable really sucks. I mean, there are degrees of discomfort. There is I have $20 to feed myself for a month. I hope you're never that uncomfortable, but that does happen, right? Or there's, okay, I have created this insane schedule for myself, and I have to, and I don't know what drugs I am on doing this, right? And that there's a degree of discomfort there. And there's also, but again, it's as an artist, you have to be okay with being uncomfortable. Actually, I would even let's even go beyond art. As a person,
right,
you need to seek out on some level discomfort.
right.
If you don't, so that glass of water you had there, you have not touched. That water.
A couple of times.
Okay, a couple times. Okay, it's mostly at the top. So we'll just say, but that liquid takes the shape of the cup. That cup doesn't move. That liquid doesn't move. That liquid is always in that state.
Right.
So imagine ourselves as like the cup, as liquid, and imagine the cup is the world. So we can be that liquid all the time, just mine, and sometimes we do need to do that. Every once in a while we need to do some time to do that.
Yeah.
But at some point, we're like, you know that beaker over there that looks like a unicorn? I want to know if I can truly be that unicorn, right? Right? Farting rainbows is totally an optional thing, right? But the point is, as a human being, we always have the ability to become more.
Right.
And to do that, we have to always, on some level, seek a degree of dissatisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't have it, we have no incentive to change.
No.
And if we have no incentive to change, we stay exactly as we are. And to a point, there's a certain point where that's fine, but eventually what happens is one day you're going to wake up, and the world will have passed you by.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, you know, what happened? When did this change? Because you stopped changing. You became that cup, that water in the cup that didn't do anything. You just flopped.
Right.
The world never stops.
No.
And that's just the way it is.
Well, and this is, this is my question and my own artistic practice is, I feel a plateau.
Yeah.
And it could be my own
totally.
perception, but that's the one that counts.
Yes, it does. It totally does.
And this is my choice. Is okay. I feel okay. I've done what I needed to do here. What is next?
Mm-hmm.
And that what is next could look like anything.
Yeah.
Right? It's completely wide open. And that is terrifying. And I think it's so important to acknowledge the terror of that.
Absolutely.
You know.
But let's go one step further. Why is it so terrifying?
The risk of failure, honestly.
Is that it? Is that the only thing that terrifies you?
Well, it's probably, and I think there's layers to it, right? There's a fear of failure, but there's also a fear of success.
That's interesting.
Right?
So why that one?
I think for me, what success looks like is pushing out of that old skin. Right? Once I realize that I've become a little bit too comfortable in what I'm doing, where I am, to me success is breaking out of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not to me this is, I've had this many followers, I have, this much in the bank. To me it's that freedom of pushing past my own point of comfort. Because it's so seductive to stay there, and so that's where I'm at in my practice. Is okay. I've come to a plateau. I know for me that success is to push beyond that, whatever that looks like.
Okay.
You know.
All right. So So poor board game. We stopped playing.
I know.
But this
abandoned the
this got really deep and insightful and fun and you're enjoying yourself. I think more than even you anticipated a little bit.
I think so. I mean, I didn't honestly know what to expect out of this, right? I thought, okay, we met and we recorded this podcast, and what are we doing? And I think this is exactly the kinds of things that are critical to an artist, and to me as an artist in my own practice is I don't know what the outcome of this is going to be. Let's see what happens.
Exactly.
Right. And it's. I was talking to my priest actually a little bit earlier, and we were talking about that. In our practice, humility is a part of it, right? Being humble, but and a friend of mine pointed this out. Humility and being humble also shares the same root with humiliation, right? It's a very vulnerable, tender thing to do, to say, I don't actually know what's going to happen. Let's see. So
here's the true terror of an artist in my point of view. It's not that we fail. Not even that rejection, yes, but specifically it's why it's what is being rejected. So when I was at Creative Inc., there was this person that was afraid to submit their stuff. I said, you know why you're afraid to submit your stuff? I'll tell you why you're afraid to submit your stuff. It's not because it's bad.
So you were saying to yourself?
No, that's what I was saying to her.
Okay.
It's because it's bad. It's because it's your best. At that moment, at that time. It's not... Here's the thing about being an artist. We give a shit. That's the bottom line. Like, we absolutely give a crap about everything we do, to a point that we drive everybody else around us a little nuts. It's like, it's good. No, but it could be better. Shut up. And that's literally the conversations we have with our significant others, family, friends, whatever. But the thing about it is, we are trying to do our very best at that moment, at that time.
Right.
So we are, in one sense, at our most vulnerable, because this is truly what we can do right now.
Right.
We can't get better at this moment, right?
And that best might not be good enough.
Exactly, right? and that's a very bitter pill to swallow. And sometimes, you know what, they're absolutely right. And there's nothing you can say about it, because again, and they're not rejecting you as a personal. Some people do take it that way.
Right.
They're looking at the work and it's like, it just doesn't measure up to this, and this. And you know what? In all fairness, they might be right.
Right.
And that's even worse sometimes. Right?
Yeah.
Right? That's even worse, right? But again, it's the question then, when you hit that point, do you have what it takes to get even better, and still, maybe even next time, get rejected? Right? And get better. Now, I've gotten some nice rejections. There's still rejections. I had a rejection that was so nice, I almost I want to be published by this guy, because this feels good. This is a no. What does a yes feel like? Holy crap, right? And even Colleen, who rejected my poem, that was a super nice rejection. She actually legitimately, it was one of the kindest rejections I've ever had. It just didn't fit the work didn't fit what she was building, and that's fair, right? Nothing. It's not an indictment to me, but it is what it is, right? So that's the real uncomfortable thing as an artist. That no matter how good you become, there are no guarantees.
No, not at all. And it's not necessarily, or has it been the case that the quality of the work alone will get you to where you need to go? And I mean, I'm of two minds in that way. What we think is our best quality might not be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? We're really invested in our work. but at the same time, quality work alone is not going to push you to that next point, right? And this is the, you know, I think it's the inherent vulnerability of being an artist. You know, you need to be able to put yourself out. You need to be able to connect with people. And that's, I think, for me, some of the hardest work I do as an artist is connecting with other people.
And see, you come off as genuine, funny, smart. You're definitely pretty. So I mean, right? So I mean, I figure you got less work than a guy like me, right? Who's just, I mean, goofy, right?
It works.
Yeah.
And well, I think, you know, that connection part it's vulnerable.
Yeah.
To connect with people, and that to me is it is some of the hardest work I do. Like I was talking to another artist about this a couple of days ago, because I'm doing the whole, I should probably, you know, pick some people's brains and kind of see where they're at, because I'm at an interesting point in my career. I see what I've achieved so far, but it can't stop there.
No.
Right? Because the world will go by without me.
Yeah, exactly.
If I say, oh, I've done some really cool stuff. Now I've paid my dues. I'm okay now, and I see this attitude from artists in the community where there's a sense of entitlement. You know, I've put in my dues. I've put in my hours. Where's my reward?
That's
and it doesn't work.
No,
it doesn't work that way, right? And often, you know, the work of artists who have that sense of entitlement, to me, that's been some of the least compelling work I've read and I've seen.
We are also in the business of proving ourselves over and over and over and over again. Look, my podcast got nominated for an award. Isn't that's cool, right? That's cool. That's super cool.
Which award?
The Aurora Award for Best Fan-Related Award.
Okay, wow.
Isn't that cool?
No big deal.
Yeah, no. You're actually oddly right, though. It is on one hand, it is no big deal. Don't get me wrong. It's really cool. That's going to create on my resume for the rest of my career.
Right.
But now what?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't enjoy that. Like, take a moment. Yes, I'm an award finalist. Woohoo!
Yes.
Now what? Because I've hit that plateau.
Right.
What's next? What else can I do? What else can I achieve?
Right.
If I'm not thinking like that, I've stopped saying anything good.
Right.
It's worth a damn.
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
Yeah. And no matter how successful you become, always remember that. Show up like you got something to prove every single time, and you will always have something worth saying.
Well, and it's true, and why bother showing up if this isn't the most important thing that I need to do right now? Why am I showing up?
Exactly.
Right. And I mean, earlier on in my artistic career, my artistic practice, there was a lot of, I've got to go to this open mic, I've got to do this thing, I've got to put my hours in, and that is important too, to get in your reps. It's exercise. It's maintaining those muscles. But if this is not the most important thing that I'm doing right now, I need to re-examine my priorities. Right? Either make it the most important thing that I do right now, or it actually is the most important thing I'm doing with my time right now. And it's something I've thought about in my day job, because as much as I think about it as I have to work X amount of hours so that I can pay my bills and my rent, these are also the moments in my life that are ticking away. Right?
So I work for a warehouse. It's a unionized warehouse. The reason I'm still there after all these years is flexibility. I kind of treat the job like it treats me. And you want to think, I want you. She grins at that. It's a very polite way of saying something, ladies and gentlemen. We'll leave it at that. And because I recognize what the job is.
Right.
And I'm going to be taking more risks. If we went back to that water comfort thing, I've hit that point in terms of the day job.
Right.
I've hit that over a long time. For a while it was fine because I needed the flexibility. But now I'm like, you know what? People are noticing me. I think I do good stuff. Why not just go for it? If I get my ass kicked, it's not like it wouldn't be the first time. Right?
Right.
Right? So, after Aurora season's done, that's what I'm working towards.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as you so eloquently put it, those are hours of my life I can't get back. And I'm getting too old for that shit. so
well, there's almost a built-in time for fucking around when you're younger, right? Because you don't realize I don't think you truly realize how valuable the time is. And honestly, it's living and getting shaken out of that you realize very quickly this is not time to waste. There's no time to be wasted.
I value my time more than my money.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That's how my approach. My time is more valuable than my money. So my cardinal sin with people is wasting when they waste my time. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Right? It's
true.
I absolutely hate. I hate having my time wasted, and that's my cardinal sin. You can do anything else. I don't care what else you do. Literally, I mean, you could be like doing a demon orgy in your backyard. I don't care. Just show up when you say, don't waste my time, right? Because if you waste my time, I can't get it back, and then I'm perturbed with you.
Right.
Right? And then the next time you want to use my time, I'm going to charge you.
Right.
Like legitimately. That's because that's how I look at it. The business we all offer in this life, that what we sell is our time.
Right.
That's our business. If you're not going to appreciate my time, you're going to pay for it another way.
Right.
Or you're not going to bother me. Right? So,
stay with your money, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult, and this is something that I've wrestled with as an artist, is I think this day job is wasting my time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the precious minutes of my life are ticking away here, and I could be doing my art instead. But that's not necessarily the place that I'm going to be at financially, and I can't. It's not sustainable for me to conceptualize it in that way.
Well, okay, so there's also something to be said about having something else to do in concert with your art too.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
There is something to be said about that, because honestly it makes you appreciate, you become really good at being efficient with your time eventually. It's not and also there's something about like I lift and toast stuff all day. I feel sore, but I mean I don't feel terrible about the job I do either, right? There's a certain satisfaction about this. So when I do, I mean there's going to come a day I walk away, but I know that next job, if I do another job, is going to have that kind of satisfaction, or I'm going to have to incorporate some kind of physical or like just a different dimension to what I'm doing artistically right now.
Right.
Otherwise, I'm going to be, or I'm going to waste away.
Right.
I don't want to do that. I look pretty, and I want to work on that. Keep that up.
Right.
But more importantly, I want to be healthy. So when I approach doing anything creatively, I do it. You know what I mean? And I can do it, and I do it efficiently. Because again, going back to time, right? Time. That all said, on the flip side, something tells me there is a touch of you have a similar dissatisfaction with your job as I do with mine.
Oh yeah.
So So treat your job like I treat mine, and you'll be a lot happier for it.
That's a way to earn a living, and I have to look at it this way. If those hours of my week were freed up, would I actually use that any more wisely?
And again, that's why there's value in concert, right? There's sometimes there is a bit of a value having something in concert while you're doing it. What I'm saying to you is that might be what you need to do, and that's totally fine. But because I'm doing the same thing when some things are settled, try to find something where we feel your time isn't as wasted.
Right.
Because you're worth more than what I think this place is giving you.
Right.
And that's just me.
Well, this is, I think, the value, and this is another value of my artistic practice, beyond fighting, and the spiritual part of it is it's supported by my day job, and I may never love that day job, and that's okay.
That's okay too, yeah.
Right? I take myself seriously as an artist, and so given that fact, I need to invest in my art the same way that I would invest in my job.
Exactly.
Treat it as seriously as that, right? And I think it can be a difficult transition for an artist to make, right? Because I feel too often, because art may not have that same need in people's life, where they don't realize that need is there, that the same value may not be placed on an artistic practice, and yet it is as vital, right? Yep. It is as vital for me as being able to earn my living, right? So given that, well, then I need to invest in it in the same way that I would my day job.
Fair enough. Miss Mel Vee, I really enjoy talking to you. I really do. No, I really do. But I'm looking at the time, and I'm thinking to myself that you probably have other things you need to do. And
I have an appointment at 12.
Yeah. And that makes me really sad because I thoroughly enjoyed this. And I do hope, even without a recorder, someday we get to have another conversation like this down the road, because I think you're awesome. But we do have to conclude this interview, if nothing else. So,
yeah.
What are you working on?
Yes.
And how can people find you?
So, right now I'm working on a multimedia art project. It's titled The Mule of the World, and it's about, I interviewed 6 black women about their experiences with marginalization, triumph, struggle, and it's a multimedia project, so there is photography, there's spoken word, and there's going to be music as well. So that is September the 7th at Community Wise Resource Center, so that's kind of the big thing I'm working on right now. And I am investing heavily and fully in my own podcast, the Unlearning Channel, which is an anti-racist and decolonization podcast that I started with a friend and colleague of mine, and we're taking that full force. So we're going to be doing a documentary out of that, and it's we haven't fully settled on the name, but it's basically about the decolonization of beauty and how racialized women conceive of our beauty, and challenging some of those some of the white supremacist standards in beauty, and seeing women around the world and how we respond to that. So yeah, big stuff coming, lots to do, but that is vital. And where can people find me? Mel Vee Poetry on Facebook, and melvyc.wordpress.com, my website and blog. I think that's everything that I'm doing right now.
Okay.
We didn't actually get.
And that was my conversation with Mel Vee. Her event is this Friday. Read the poster. It has all the pertinent info there. I've said it a few times. It is the Mule of the World at the Community Wise Center in Calgary, September 7th, 7 to 9 p.m. Be there. It'll definitely be worth your time. I want to thank Mel Vee very much for coming on my show. You are welcome back anytime you'd like. Hopefully we'll actually play the board games properly this time. But all right, that will do it for this episode. Just Josh. I'm just going to go right to the end credits here. You can support this podcast by doing one of three things: subscribing to the podcast here or through iTunes, YouTube. I have a channel called Josh Pantelleresco, and you can buy my books, The Watcher, Storm Dancer, and The Wandering God, which are available through Mirror World Publishing, Kobo, Amazon, anywhere you can want to find these books, you can find them. Okay, that's it. Stay inspired. Have a good one. I will see you guys soon, and we'll be back to normal, or as normal as it gets, next week. All right? All right.
Josh.